Hi, welcome to today's episode. Today's episode, we're going to look at the fall of man, and not just Adam and Eve's fall. This is my fall, your fall, and their fall as well. So it's found in Genesis chapter 3, and we're going to begin from verse 1. And I'm not going to follow the story verse by verse, but I'm just basically going to narrate it in very short way. So what comes to your mind when you hear of the fall of man? For me, what comes to my mind is relation of violation. So I see this story as a state in which Adam and Eve violate the relationship that they had with God. And then in chapter 3, the first verse, it's introduced with the serpent. It says the serpent was more cunning than any other beast that the Lord had made. So the snake comes up to the woman. The snake, being very cunning, comes up to the woman and says, "Has the Lord really said that you will not eat of any tree in the garden?" First of all, I want us to note that he says really, which makes it already sound like, could it be possible that he said? So already making the woman feel like it's either he said she heard wrong, or God didn't really say what he said, or mean what he actually said to the woman. And then the woman responds and says, "Of all the trees we shall eat except one." This gives me an insight to say there was variety of fruits to eat from. There was a lot of trees to get fruit from. But then except this one, he said, if we eat, we're going to die. And I just want us to note that every time we have temptation coming our way, it's not that there's no other means for us to survive. There's always a means for us to survive. God has already prepared a way for us to survive that temptation. So when temptation comes our way, we are basically tempted, not void of options. And then the woman says, no, God said we shall eat from any other tree except the one in the middle. I want us to note that I read something very interesting that says, the word does not need defending in as much as it needs obeying. Let that sink in. I think many times we try to defend the word of God and then fail to obey it. But the word is able to defend itself without us doing it. All we need to do is to obey the word. And then after that, the woman goes on ahead and eats from the tree. And then later on sees that, oh, she didn't die. So she goes on and calls her husband. It's like, Adam, hey, I had some of this fruit. Would you like to have some? I didn't die. Then Adam eats some of it. And then after that commotion, I think as we're getting to verse 10, the woman and Adam, I think verse 9, Adam and the woman realize that they're actually naked. So as a result, they go and hide and then get leaves and cover themselves and whatnot. Then God comes to the garden and is asking them, says, Adam, where are you? Then Adam says, I'm hiding because I'm naked. And God is saying, how do you know that you're naked, Adam? And he says, the woman that you gave me the fruit from the tree that you said we should not eat. And I ate. And then the woman later on says, it's the snake. So here's what I want us to note. As we see what is happening between Adam and Eve, they're already beginning to blame each other. So relationships that are broken by sin do not only violate the two people that are in it, you violate relationships with other people as well. Adam was already pointing and sacrificing his wife, and as well as Eve was sacrificing the snake at this point because they were pointing fingers. So relation of violation does not only happen to the two parties that are directly involved. I want us to note that it goes on to generations and generations, and we pass on what we have gone through. And then after that, they're later on taken out of the garden, and enmity is put between the snake and man and all those things. But here's what I want us to note. With all these things happening, it's not necessarily a big deal that Adam and Eve had of the fruit. That is not the big deal. The big deal is that they violated the relationship that they had with God. I want us to think of the fruit. I want us to think of the tree. The tree did not look any greener. The Bible does not tell us that the tree looked any greener at that point when the serpent came up. It doesn't say the serpent came up when the fruit was ripe in the tree. But the serpent came up and it changed their idea of who God is. First of all, it made them doubt, number one, what God's intention was for them. Number two, the nature of God. Number three, it made them question if God really had their best interest at heart. And then as a result, they ended up eating from the tree. So here's the thing. Most of the times that we violate our relationship with God, it usually hinges on what we believe God is and who we believe God is, and also what we believe his intentions for us are. But then I want us to just sit down and just think about all the times that we have sinned. Have we gotten the satisfaction that we expected to get from that sin? Did Adam and Eve reap what they were trying to reap from that sin? So God, who knows us best, God who created us, when he's told us not to do this and we chose to do it, we're in a state where we're mistaken about our identity because we think we know best about ourselves rather than the one who created us. So I think every single time we sin, it's a fight of who is God, what are his intentions for me, rather than it is for do not do this and do not do that. So I want us to go back and really think of who really God is and what God really means to us. And every time we sin, what has really been the cause? Is it that that thing looked more attractive at that point, or what we thought was good for us had changed? So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that sin is constituted by our distorted idea of who God really is. And until that is corrected, we're not able to defeat sin.